Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're diving into something really quite fascinating. What if a nation, one we often sort of overlook in ancient history, actually holds these vital DNA clues, not just about its own past, but maybe to the very heart of European migration itself?
hmm
So this deep dive, we're going to unpack some incredible insights. We've got info from researchers, scientists, historians, all trying to understand the unique genetic story of Poland.
And it's compelling, isn't it? This idea you mentioned, Poland is a kind of,
Yeah.
well, a genetic helm right there in the center of Europe. It's not just a metaphor.
Right.
Studies really do show this surprising mix in Poland's genetic map. You've got deep signals from the Indo-European steppe migrations, traces of really ancient Central European hunter-gatherers. And what's quite remarkable is this deep regional continuity, something many neighboring countries just don't show to the same degree.
Yeah.
What stands out.
A genetic helm, I like that. It paints a picture. So, okay, if we're navigating by this helm, what do the actual numbers tell us? The specific data behind these connections.
Absolutely. The numbers are key. Let's get into some specifics. Take a big 2020 study. They looked at DNA from, what was it, over 2,700 Polish men, right across all the voivodeships, the administrative regions.
Okay.
And they looked at Y-DNA haplogroups. Now, just quickly, a haplogroup is like a big genetic family passed down purely on the male line, father to son, for thousands of years.
Yeah.
It traces that direct paternal ancestry.
Got it. Like a surname, but genetic.
Kind of, yeah. And they found that one specific haplogroup, R1A, accounts for somewhere between 50 and 60% of Polish paternal lineages. That's huge.
50 to 60%, just from one group.
Yes. And R1A is the one strongly linked to those big Indo-European movements, the ones that really changed the face of prehistoric Europe.
Wow. Okay, 50, 60%. How does that stack up against, say, Western Europe? Is that unusually high?
Oh, definitely. It's significantly higher. I mean, R1A exists in Western Europe, of course, but at much, much lower frequencies. This concentration in Poland is really one of the main things pointing to its central role in how that lineage spread.
Interesting.
And we can even zoom in a bit further. Within R1A, there's a more specific branch, a subclade, called R1A M458, or sometimes RLO 260.
Okay.
Now, this one seems strongly tied to the West Slavic expansion specifically, and it shows up in about 8% of Polish men. But the really interesting bit, its specific Polish-centered branch seems to be only about 2,000 to 3,000 years old.
Oh, so quite recent, relatively speaking.
Exactly. Suggests a more localized, maybe more recent expansion event within that broader R1A picture.
Okay, so that's a really strong signal on the paternal side. What about the maternal lineages? What's the story from mitochondrial DNA?
Right, the mtDNA side. This is passed down from mother to all her children, tracing the direct female line. Here, the picture is a bit different. The dominant haplogroups in Poles are H, U, and J.
H?
Yeah, making up roughly 43%, 20%, and 10% respectively. Now, these are common haplogroups across Europe.
So more like the wider European picture.
Largely, yes. They mirror patterns you see in Western Europe quite a bit. But there are still some subtle regional variations within Poland that scientists are digging into. It suggests, a unique paternal story layered onto broader European maternal connections.
Fascinating. So you see these modern patterns, really strong ones. But the real kicker often is connecting this back. How far can we trace these threads into the past? Does the ancient DNA match up?
Ah, yes. And this is where Poland's story gets particularly striking. Historians, archaeogeneticists, they really emphasize its remarkable genetic continuity.
Continuity.
How so?
Well, take the Wielbark culture. They were around from the 1st to the 4th century AD, right there in what's now Poland. An important group, often linked to the Goths historically, though that's debated.
Right, I've heard of them. When they analyzed ancient DNA from Wielbark burial sites, the mtDNA patterns they found, haplogroups H, U5b, WJ, they look incredibly similar to modern Poles, and also to modern Baltic and Slavic neighbors.
Wait, so direct genetic links stretching back almost 2,000 years from that specific culture?
Pretty much, yeah. It's not just a vague similarity, it's like a direct echo, a strong signal of continuity.
That's profound, isn't it?
It is, and it might go even deeper. Looking at broader DNA markers, the autosomal DNA, which you get from both parents, and also Y-chromosome results, they suggest this continuity stretches way back to the Bronze Age, the Iron Age.
Seriously?
Yeah, links to ancestries like the corded ware culture, that big Bronze Age phenomena, known for their pottery and even connections to earlier Baltic hunter-gatherers. It paints this picture of a population that somehow maintained its core genetic profile through millennia.
Despite all the migrations and upheavals that must have happened in that region.
Exactly, which is quite rare, especially for a place that's geographically such a crossroads.
It really challenges that simple idea of constant population replacement, doesn't it?
It does. It suggests more absorption, more resilience maybe, deep roots.
Okay, so this picture emerges of deep roots, remarkable continuity, but also some unique signals like that high R1A. What does this all mean when we think about, say, modern identity? Or even health? Because you mentioned subtle regional differences too, right?
Absolutely. It's not completely uniform. Despite that overall homogeneity, you do see these small but meaningful regional genetic variations.
Like where?
Well, for example, if you look at distinct groups like the Kashubians up near the Baltic coast or Poles from the Kosiri region, they tend to show slightly higher frequencies of haplogroups I1 and I2.
I1 and I2. What might those signify?
They're often linked to older European lineages, perhaps hinting at a stronger persistence of specific Pomeranian or even some pre-Slavic heritage in those more, maybe, historically isolated areas.
Interesting. Little echoes of even older layers.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And this kind of nuance is important when people talk about, well, the idea of a pure Slavic identity.
Ah, yes, that concept definitely comes up.
It does. But geneticists, they're generally quite clear that, genetic purity for any large population is basically a myth. Eastern European DNA, Polish DNA included, it's a tapestry. It's got layers from steppe nomads, yes, but also from Neolithic farmers, from much earlier Mesolithic Europeans.
It's a blend. Always has been.
It's a blend, a result of millennia of movements and mixing, not some single unadulterated source. And this complexity isn't just about identity politics. It has real-world consequences for, say, medicine.
How so?
Well, projects like the 1,000 Polish Genomes Project. They found a small number of rare genetic variants, mutations, that can affect health. And some of these are either unique to Poles or much more common in Poles than in other populations.
Right, disease risk variants.
Exactly, pathogenic variants. And finding those highlights why having population-specific genetic data is so vital. You can't just rely on global averages for accurate diagnostics or effective treatments. You need that finer-grained picture.
That makes perfect sense. Crucial for personalized medicine. So, okay, let's try and pull all these threads together. We've got the high R1A, the deep maternal lines, this amazing continuity, regional nuances, medical relevance. If you had to sum it up, what truly makes the Polish gene, so to speak, special? What are the core takeaways?
Well, I think there may be four main things that really stand out. First, as we said, it's this crucial genetic model for Slavic expansion. That super high frequency of R1A really marks Poland as a key area, maybe even an epicenter, for understanding how that massive Indo-European male lineage spread across so much of Europe.
Right, it gives us a clear window into that process.
Exactly. Second, there's the deep maternal diversity. Those stable mtDNA lines like H and U, they've persisted for thousands of years. They connect Poland to broader Western European patterns, sure, but with their own Eastern European flavor, showing the resilience of female lineages too.
So both unique paternal signals and deep connected maternal ones.
Precisely. Third is that remarkable archaeogenetic consistency. The link between the Iron Age Wielbark people and modern Poles. That kind of continuity over nearly 2 millennia is just not something you see everywhere in Europe. It suggests deep, deep local roots and population stability despite everything.
A living genetic bridge, as you put it earlier.
Yeah. And finally, fourth is the medical relevance. That combination of overall similarity plus those subtle regional differences. It makes the Polish population a really valuable group for studying the genetic basis of diseases. It offers power for finding disease genes that might be missed elsewhere.
That's a really clear summary, it feels like. What's fascinating here isn't that Poland's genetic profile is somehow exotic or completely alien. It's special almost because it's so central.
I think that's a great way to put it. Central, yes. Situated right at these historical, geographical, and genetic crossroads between major migrations, empires, long periods of continuity. Poland's genetic story is this incredible archive. It shows how modern identity isn't static. It's built layer upon layer through movement, through settlement, over vast stretches of time.
A living archive that offers insights into our shared human past.
Definitely.
So after hearing all this, it leaves us with a big question, doesn't it? For you, the listener, what do you think? Are genes ultimately a stronger marker of who we are than, say, culture or language? Should an identity like Slavic, or any identity really, be rooted primarily in genetics? Or is it more about shared history, shared civilization, shared beliefs? Something to think about. What does ancestry truly mean to you?